Now that you started your world, it's time to learn some of the controls of the game. So let's go into my game. The first I want to note is the top left-hand corner. Notice how when we turn those coordinates off, it tells you the world position. This world is infinite. It's really big and you get lost easily. So you have your X, Y, Z coordinates to tell you where you are in your world. Now, if you'll notice right in the middle, when I move my mouse around, I've got a cursor and it kind of highlights a little bit where you will be breaking or placing that block. So when you use the controls, and remember I recommend a mouse and a keyboard because you can see by me just moving the mouse, it's really smooth where I can go. But let's mine this by hitting the left button, it just breaks the block. And then if I want to place something, I just hit the right key and it just goes in from there. Okay, so on the left-hand side, if I hit that H button, notice I can hide or show my controls. When you're first starting off, I recommend have those controls up so you can see them. So you can see the WASD, those are your motion controls. And if I use them in conjunction with the mouse, you can see I'm kind of just walking around and turning with the mouse while moving forward, backwards, or side to side. If you do the space bar, that allows you to do a little jump. And if you hit it twice, this is where you can start flying. Flying is really cool because when you're building, sometimes you need to look at a perspective from above. So when you're building something, you want to see maybe the square, and you kind of move the same keys while you're flying too. To fall back down, hit it twice, and that spacebar shoots you down too. Don't worry, you don't die. Now, when you start moving, if you hit the W to move forward, notice how there's my pace, but if I hit it twice, it moves a little faster. That works with flying too. It's just handy when you're trying to get around your world really, really quickly. All right. Now, the other thing you're going to notice is we have an inventory in here. So that inventory is where we finally get all our blocks. So let's hit the E. Remember, you're going to be hitting E tons and tons of times. Just remember E. And now here's my inventory. So let's go over some of the inventory. You have your construction blocks. So these are all the ones. If you hit the plus sign, you can see there's lots of different types of wood you can build in there, lots of different stone. Some of them are decorative, some are wool. There are tons and tons of blocks. If you want to learn about what all the different types of blocks in Minecraft, you can go to this link and you'll see tons of different things you can use. Then you also have your equipment. So if you're doing something like survival mode, you might need some of this to help you survive. Then we have, of course, our items. These are your beds, your bookshelves, your crafting tables, your portfolios, all those good things. And then finally, we have the nature as well. Now, there's so much stuff in here. Sometimes you're looking for something specific. So there's also a magnifying glass, which is nice. So you can go in and you can type exactly what you want. So if you want wood, there's everything to do with wood. And if you want a flower, there's everything you can do with flowers. So I use a search a lot to find those things I'm looking for. So let's put a couple things in our inventory because down here, this is called our quick inventory. So right now I have the grass block. So let's go grab some other things. I'm going to click on it. I'm just going to drag it down and drop it in there. Let's go grab some stained glass. We'll mix it up a little bit. Of course, we're going to add a couple different things. I'm going to put in a camera. We're going to go over this more in the part 2, but for now, let's put in this. We'll put in a book and quill as well. All right, then there's a whole bunch of fun stuff. There's buckets of water, lava, you name it. There's a lot of stuff, but you're going to be basically experimenting and seeing what it is you want to use. But let's see what these can do now. I'm going to hit the X button. So now you can see I have all these things in my inventory. So let's go over here. To choose these, you're actually going to use the number key. So if I click number 2, you can see my inventory is moving. So 1, 2, 3, the water's 5, then there's the book and quill portfolio. So let's do a redstone wall. So I'm going to place it by clicking the right, and you can see as I move, you can start building. Now, your students are going to get really good with this, and they just start placing like this. They hold down the button and move. It will build basically whatever they want. All right, one key tip I learned is if you fly by hitting that space bar, sometimes it's even quicker to build walls that way. All right, so all I did was just do a little fly in the air and hold down that right key. Same thing works with mining. So if I want to get rid of that, instead of holding down the right, I'm going to hold down the left. And that's a quick way to kind of break everything that you may or may not want. Now, one quick tip that I learned, because I do this all the time, I break blocks by accident. If you need that block, let's say you need that grass block right away, if you have a mouse with that scroll button, that middle button, when you click it, it chooses the one you need instantly, and you can place it right away. So if I go click those red blocks, you can see it kind of switching around. The last thing I want to show you is just a couple of cool features in here that we'll get into more during the second part of the workshop, but we have some things in here to help us kind of go about our day as a teacher. So the first thing is having a sign. So we'll just take that from inventory and drop it in our quick inventory. And the other one that we're going to be using quite a bit, especially for documentation, is something called the portfolio. So with these ones right here, so we've got the camera, we have a book and quill, a portfolio, and a sign. Let's just see what those do real quick. So I'm going to choose the camera by hitting 9. And you can see now I have a use. So I'm going to click that use, and it literally takes a picture. Now the cool thing about that picture is if you click on your portfolio, once you open it, those pictures automatically go in. So you can see I took one previously too. So I can add a little caption there, and that saves that portfolio, which we can export later. The other cool thing is, if you wanted to, let's go to the book and quill, I can write in there. I can write a whole story in here, but the neat thing is if I go to this little pencil, I can actually add those pictures from my portfolio as well, and they pop right in there and just moves the words over. Lastly is our sign. Now remember, we're going to feature this more in the second session. If I had a place there, I can type everything you want to see right in your sign. So this is a way you can give directions to students too. So those are some of the features that we'll be exploring during the second part of the workshop.